want to present to you what we've managed to achieve so far in the first 6 months of Sparks being opened, because we opened on the 13th of May this year. So we're very excited to be able to celebrate our 6-month opening with you this evening. But also we very much want to look ahead, because we now know from the landlord that we are able to remain in this space until 2025, which is really fantastic news. So whilst we were frantically trying to get the doors open and get as much done as we possibly could by December, because that's when we thought the lease might end, it's brilliant to know that we now have at least another year, maybe 2 years in this space. So this is our chance to dream big and potentially achieve so much more now in the following year to come, now that we've kind of started to try out what works, what doesn't work. This has always been a pilot project, but this is our chance now to really make Sparks fly even higher and faster and brighter. So just a very brief background to Sparks for those of you that may be new to the project. So we at Global Goals Centre have always wanted to have a hub based on the Sustainable Development Goals, which many of you may be familiar with, these 17 goals. It's a lot to look at, but actually, if you do take them in, they would have the power to absolutely transform our world and deal with the climate crisis, the cost of living crisis, the inequalities that we have in our world. But what we've always loved about them as an education charity is their interconnectedness. That a lot of organisations have quite a sort of narrow view and might just say, well, we do something about life below water or whatever. And obviously it's good for people to have their specialisms. But we really want people to look at them as a whole agenda, because you can achieve so much more on every one of these goals if you bring in the others. So if you've constantly got that lens of social justice, as well as climate justice, bringing all of this together, that also includes things like health and well-being and inclusivity, peace. We've seen recently how important peace is to achieve any of this. So bringing all of this together, but how do you enable people to take action on all of this huge, huge, huge agenda that is in front of us? So we've always wanted to have a physical space where we could try and bring to life what these goals are about, but enable people to take easy and affordable actions that actually do make a difference, and be able to see some of this brought to life in front of them, rather than thinking, oh, what can I do? I don't know, or nobody's doing anything. To actually see some of the incredible projects that are happening, that are making a difference, and how they can join in as part of that exciting agenda. So this is us at Global Goals Centre, and this is what we do. And we decided to create this space. We didn't necessarily want anything as big as this, but the wonderful thing was that we were able to take on the ground floor for our front-facing SDG hub and work with the amazing Artspace, Lifespace, who've been working with all the upper floors as well as doing the building management. So it really was a match made in heaven for the two charities to come together and run Sparks. And we'll go through a little bit later about some of the things we've been able to do using this reimagined department store.
Just a little bit from me and about Artspace Lifespace. For those of you who don't know who we are, Artspace Lifespace are a Bristol charity, and we focus on revitalising empty, neglected buildings and repurposing them and reinvent them as exciting places for creative expression. And we really are very focused on providing inclusive and affordable spaces where people can come together and explore and innovate. And we have a popular research and development program for artists. And we provide space for artists to hire places for all kinds of activity. But with this project, as Jenny said, we also hadn't expected anything this big. We're used to taking on empty properties, but this one was really massive, and we couldn't have done it without the amazing Invisible Circus team who created all of the work on the ground floor and pulled in huge amounts of favours, including the gentlemen's scaffolders, Coletico, who donated so much of the furniture that you're sitting on in some of the chairs here. Our own trustee Richard, in fact, managed to scrounge those and bring those over himself as well. So there was so much support from an amazing amount of people, and everything you see around you is focused on repurposing, reuse, And with the support of Global Goals and sponsorship, we managed to create what you see on the ground floor. And that's just the beginning of what we wanted to do. One thing that we found really difficult is actually looking at how we can quantify the repurposed materials we've been using. So you can see all around there's sets that have been used everywhere, but we didn't really know how to express that. So we were really lucky to receive Arts Council England funding. And with that funding, we were able to create a workshop with the support of Urge Collectives, Alexi Summer, and Jenny Ford from Materials and Mind, and No Small Thing has been a really good partner on our project. And through that, we've got a tool that we can use in the future to calculate the importance of the reuse of these materials. And it's something we're keen to do a lot more of as we develop this project and as the build continues.
So what is Sparks Bristol? Well, we really needed to do something that was retail based because we're in the heart of Broadmead. So it absolutely made sense that we had something that was based on retail, but not just about people buying things. So we created a reimagined department store, and these are the departments that we have. So we're really delighted that we've been able to work with so many different partners to create each of these different departments. So yes, we have fashion, which is recycled, restyled, vintage fashion from 10, 15 different retailers, all small traders. Our Department of Gifts basically represents over 100 small local traders who are all able to showcase their goods. This is the first time they've had somewhere they can sell it in a retail space other than just in a market. So being able to give those small retailers the chance, we'll hear from one of them later. But we've also got other really important elements. So things like travel and energy are obviously a really crucial part of what we're talking about in terms of the sustainability story. So we have our energy department that's about giving energy advice to help with fuel poverty, as well as enabling people to switch to green energy. And similarly, the travel agency is about how people can use public transport, giving them help with bikes, bike repairs. So we really wanted to offer something for everyone so that there's somewhere in Sparks where your passion can be ignited. You can maybe buy something that's sustainable that you might not have found elsewhere, that you know has not damaged the planet and that somebody's been paid fairly for. But you can also maybe find some information. And also there's lots of artwork around because lots of people are very visual learners. They might see something like the globe that's got the rubbish coming out of it and think, oh, yes, what can we do about that? And there's a little board next to it saying about carrying a water bottle, what a difference it makes. So all these tips and tricks about being able to take actions in your own life, share the message, share the love, shop sustainably. So that's what all of Sparks is about from top to bottom. And all this upper floors is offering a creative space for creatives and artists to have affordable desk space, affordable creative space right in the heart of the city, because we really are in a privileged position to be in such a central location and part of the Broadmead vibe. The other thing we really wanted to ensure is that we were a place of welcome for everyone. So we've really worked with a lot of community partners right from the word go. You may be aware that this is a real high and diverse footfall area. It's a lot of really different ages, diversities that use this space, which is fantastic. And we didn't want it to just be, oh, it's a sustainability project for a particular group of people that like green projects. We didn't want to be that. We wanted to be something for everyone, and we've worked really hard. But that's, again, something I think we can definitely improve and increase next year. So I mentioned about our collaborations, and this whole project really is an absolute, it's just totally reliant on all our partnerships, obviously with Artspace, Lifespace, but obviously with all the other partners involved. Oh, I've just realised this is supposed to be you.
I do want to talk about something that was really important to us, and that was the partnerships that Jenny mentioned, and also our partnership with Global Goals Centre. Absolutely integral to this project, and it's really hard to believe. It's only a little over a year when we met up with Global Goals and we sat down and we shared our vision for this. And to believe, when you look around and you see, oh my God, 1 year on, look what we're in, is absolutely amazing. But we couldn't have done it without each other and without all the other partners and the people feeding into that shared vision of this space. And now 1 year on, we have, and I'm going to look at my notes because I won't remember, there's 28 core staff contributing 420 hours of work a week to Sparks. We have 29 traders, and they're representing at the moment about 150 different artists and makers. And we now have 40 artists across our studio space and desk space, with more coming in the new year and still more desks to fill upstairs. So it's a really great ecosystem of makers, artists, sustainability. And a big part of our vision was this, providing a space that was accessible and inclusive to people. And when you walk in here and look at the number of visitors that are coming here daily, and yes, they might be coming in to shop, but they're learning about art, they're learning about sustainability, and they're feeling like this is a place for them. So we're really excited to everybody who's joined us on the journey so far. There's more to come. We thought this was only going to be a pilot till December, so we're really excited to see what the next year brings and the partnerships that we bring, and how you and other people that you know might join us on this journey and create new partnerships in 2024.
So what has been our impact so far? So it's quite easy to measure numbers. It's harder to sometimes do the sort of the other qualitative stuff. So we've had 250,000 people through our doors in the last 6 months, which averages 9,000 a week, which is amazing and really exciting that we're actually able to get that number of people who are walking through. Some of them are buying, some of them are looking, some of them are staying, some of them are just walking through, and that's fine too. But the more that we can do to really attract people in, the more that we can actually get some real change happening. We've had 1,200 children attending workshops. I'm not going to read all of these out, but just a few key figures. Over 1,300 people receiving energy advice, fuel poverty advice, which is so important. Over 80 bikes have been repaired. 6,700 items have been saved from landfill. And supporting local traders, as we say. So it's just been an amazing opportunity to really be able to make a big difference using this space that otherwise would have been left empty. So how fantastic we've been able to reach that number of people. And then just some of the feedback that we had. We did do a short survey between June and July, so quite early on. 81% of people who responded said they'd recommend Sparks, and that they felt that visiting here made them feel more positive about the future of the planet, which is brilliant, because given the level of climate depression and worries that people have got at the moment, actually having that impact is exciting in and of itself. And one of our favourite quotes is from a mum who said, "My son is autistic, and it's great to have a space where we can stop, a kind of refuge." And that was referring specifically to the Joey Pod, which is in the nature department, for those of you that came in that way, just to offer a safe space where people can come, be, Broadmead is a busy old place. So to be able to offer that, as well as the creativity and the sustainability all coming together, is really what we wanted to be able to offer. But as Kat says, this is not the end of the road, and we've got so much more that we want to do.
Okay, so I'm just going to talk to you a bit about the high street. I attended a meeting last night that was talking about the regeneration of another high street in Bristol, and we're constantly talking about, oh, the high street is dying, people don't shop that way anymore, but I don't think that's true. The people still want community, they still want connections. Part of what we're experimenting here with at Sparks is a place that provides those connections through the independent shopping, through our use of our wonderful sparklers over in the corner who interact with our customers and make people feel valued and welcome. And we're not saying that we've cracked the high street. We're still learning. This is a pilot. We're always testing out new ideas. We sometimes fail. We sometimes succeed. But what is happening is that we are seeing that this fusion of independent retail, of community, of art and creativity and sustainability, and showing people that there is a different future, is providing lots of connections and sparking joy and creativity, which is what we wanted. So we're testing our identity. We're still trying to work out how we can provide support for a more distributive and regenerative economy, and also how we can spark that in the high street itself. And I think we're achieving some success with that just by our neighbouring retailer, who I won't mention their name. But in October this year, they introduced a reworn, pre-loved clothing line and rework workshops for repairs and clothing. So I'm glad to think that perhaps we have sparked that change in a massive, quite unsustainable retailer, and how that might filter throughout the rest of the high street. So as well as not having money to buy new materials, we often don't have time or money to demonstrate our impact. So I'm really delighted to be able to introduce you tonight some researchers from the University of the West of England who have very kindly given us time and support in creating an evaluation framework. So please give a warm welcome to Elahe Karimnia and Tarek Farani, who are here tonight to share some of their initial findings on Sparks.
We joined Sparks right after the project started, when they signed the contract with all the uncertainty around the project. And this is a very rare opportunity for us as researchers to get involved in something that is going to be evolved and shaped. So our role, maybe I should clarify, it wasn't from the beginning to wait and look towards the end of this project and say, this should have been done, or this went well and this wasn't. So we assume ourselves as our role as critical friends. This has been a work in progress, so as our research. So we have been doing research and looking at this project together within the last 6 months. Very briefly, we're all aware that many cities at the moment, globally and in the UK, are really suffering from the physical scars of disinvestment, decline, and generally other sorts of disuse of vacant buildings and empty spaces. And we hear it from different cities, from Liverpool to Manchester to Bristol to Gloucester. So this is an issue that we don't know what to do with our buildings. And a typology, as an architect, I can tell you, it is very difficult to know what to do with these amazing buildings that have been made at some point. With the banks, with police stations, with department stores, there have been significant buildings with high value for people's memory and architectural heritage. And now the functions is transforming and what to do with them. So very briefly saying that, meanwhile, projects, temporary reuses are not new. They have been happening within the last few years, decades. They are very much growing in drawing attention from the public interest because they can provide some sort of value to the place, changing the image of the place, bringing footfall. However, there have been also critiques about them that they are, just temporary, short-term use of the space and being just gap fillers and not so much like deep and responding to the major issues that we're dealing with, and lacking long-term impact and leaving a good legacy. So this has been an issue of Meanwhile project. Also, something I want to highlight because Kat and Jenny are sitting here. The internal part of these organizations who run Meanwhile have been barely studied, and the kind of dynamic of these organizations are really overlooked because, believe me or not, I think you know better, but you've been very humble. Running a project like this is much more difficult than a conventional project. So I'm not saying this to say all good, but the way we looked at this project, based on the research of Meanwhile project overall, which I don't bore you with the details of that, is looking at these aspects of the project and being in conversation with Sparks, saying that how the vision, the partnership, the financial model, place and legacy of this project has worked and can work in the following year. Meanwhile project have issues with defining themselves, because on the one hand, it might limit their possibilities, like financial possibilities, and what to put that out there as a vision. Who will be their audience and the public if they're not so sure about what they would like to do? And in that sense, Sparks has had a very different approach, very clear and strong vision from the beginning, which was completely environmental and social in that sense. Such clear vision was not only about just temporarily using the building again. It was within a very broader sense, looking at how we can reform and revitalize the value of this place, but also high streets. High streets has been known for being, very much for their social values as well as economic values. But transforming and shifting the idea of consumption is very difficult. This has been very well supported by the two organizations who had different skills and different interests but shared values, and that is very important to support a vision with different experiences, one vision with different experiences, and also introducing a new system that hasn't been recognized before. That's also very important. In terms of vision, again, I put on my architect planning side hat on. Sparks is very unique in the sense that we are introducing a different kind of experience in the building that isn't easily fit within the use class that we are used to in planning and in urbanism. Is you cannot easily say what is happening in Sparks, and that is exactly what the future of buildings on high streets should be. It's education, it's culture, it's social value, it's retail, and this is also transformation in use classes and in planning in a sense. Within also a creative spatial adaptation, that how the buildings could be adapted in a way, how much of it should be public, how much of it should be private, not private in a way like in terms of the access and footfall. Some activities, some people need more private areas within a public space. So opening all this within the same vision have been worked very, very well with the creative adaptation of the building. This clear vision helped with a very good partnership and collaboration. I'm not going to details because Kat and Jenny gave us details, but what I would like to highlight is that the trust between the two organizations, I think it's very important. Believing that this partnership is not only within also two organizations, with those who have got involved and engaged in this process. So we assume Sparks has succeeded in creating a community of practice with the property owner, with the property agent, with the city, with all the retailers and actors who are involved. I'm actually part of the High Street regeneration platform, and there is always a divide between community-based regeneration practices and city-based practices. And I think this is a very good example of how we can bring all the different stakeholders together, kind of trying to avoid this divide that is happening. And Bristol is a showcase of that divide. How can we bring different voices in this building, accepting to collaborate, and how this collaboration can support financially? And I think what Sparks has done by bringing different different actors involved, it allowed a different legal possibilities. Different kind of actors and charities and organizations have been involved. They might provide different legal, and they have different legal entities and maybe possibly getting legal support and finances. So by having multiple voices, you're not necessarily losing the opportunity of having multiple finances. How we can have this kind of diverse partnership towards having more kind of multiple financial support. That's also something that we can think of in the future. Balancing funding and time has been very important. Sparks usually meanwhile project within the first 6 months, I want to say, it's very important to have the funding because they need to start communicating about the project that they are not sure what it can be. And they need to be clear about what it can be because they need finances. So managing all this and having the finances upfront and communicating about the project while keeping it open and flexible about what it can be has been very important and interesting. Obviously, it is gradually adapting, which is very important, and not rushing into filling everything for the building and thinking about, obviously, that would be very difficult, but how to do that and strategically using the space in that sense. I'll be short. I put place not so much in the front. It is very important, but without a vision, without a proper partnership, without finances, just being in the city center and high street is not enough. So it is very important, the location, but the location comes with other aspects of the organization that I just talked about. Also, again, being on high street and city center is not easy because it comes with some sort of imagination and expectation, and also in terms of evaluation, numbers and footfalls and values, and creating a new community for this place who have had some sort of relations with the Sparks building previously. How we can all help, this project can all help to transform that value and that memory, not necessarily a new image, but some sort of new value, let's say. Legacy. Sparks tried from the beginning to highlight what can be the long-term impact and thinking about the legacy from day one, because first of all, we weren't sure if the lease is going to be extended or not, and thinking about what's going to happen at the end. In many ways, the project, the vision and the forms of the partnership and finances can be, I would say, mapped out and being replicated. We will discuss in our report, hopefully, how this can happen. And definitely by bringing both climate issues and lessons and learnings, as well as the social, bringing different voices to the forefront, Sparks is trying to showcase a just transition in a very tiny, perhaps, scale of it. But the divide between the environmental issues and social issues is still there. And it's a showcase that we cannot discuss them differently if we want to tackle it. And again, it is an experiment. There are lessons and learnings and outcomes, workshops, discussions that we together with the organizers are bringing into the picture and thinking about how these lessons can be taken, can be reflected on, and moving forward. I'm not going to go to details of the possibilities of Sparks. There are many possibilities in our view, from the research point of view, from considering how to have a prototype of empty building toolkits that doesn't exist at the moment, of buildings as such with their own limitations, in terms of the guidelines of how to encourage these projects, but not only encouraging them, how we can go beyond the planning, long-term planning, bureaucratic rules and regulations, if we would like to support practices as such, and supporting this kind of democratized cultural practices and more. So I end here. Thank you so much.
So in terms of what Ellie was saying about bringing in different voices, we just think that's a really important part of reporting back on our impacts. And so we wanted to ask some of our partners to just say a few words, literally for a minute each, just in terms of what being in Sparks has meant to them. So Jules, can I ask you to start off? Jules is from Curiosity Unlimited. If you can just say a couple of words about what your time in Sparks has meant to your organisation. Thank you.
Thank you, Jenny. Good afternoon, good evening, good night, as we might be saying if we're in the Caribbean right now. I see some old faces and some new friends, and I hope there will be more friends after this conversation. So my name is Jules. I'm the Disruptor in Chief of Curiosity Unlimited. We're Think and Do Tank, taking proactive, positive action for inequality and social justice. We're very much focused on making Bristol the best city for people of colour to live in by 2030. That's because it's currently the 7th worst, so that's why I'm stood here. I want to say thank you to Jenny and to all of the Sparks team, man who made the initial introduction, and that's because since coming here, it's been a great place for me to do some incredible work, and I want to quickly tell you about that work right now, and that is the big Bristol Bus Boycott Takeover. Now, it was 60 days before the 60th anniversary. I called together 60 change makers to come up with 60 ways to celebrate the 60th anniversary of what is probably the biggest and most important racial diversity moment that's happened in this country, and that came out of this city in 1963. It is something that actually led to the Race Relations Act, and today is at the heart of the Equalities Act 2010. And Bristol Bus Boycott defeated the colour bar on the day that Martin Luther King had a dream. So we begin to start to see how important this particular moment is for the city. Those 60 change makers, between us, we came up not with 60, it actually now stands at 77 ways to mark the Bristol Bus Boycott. And it's been drive, it's been initiative, it's been ingenuity. What I loved about Sparks is it was pushing at an open door. They said, yeah, we'll host this event. We talked to First Bus came on board. We've now got a double-decker that's been wrapped celebrating the Bristol Bus Boycott that's in operation for a year, hopefully longer. We met with University of Bristol. University of Bristol are now supporting us with a grassroots blueprint for change, but also we've done a number of events at their global lounge recently. We met with Fangam Debonair. She is now the Shadow Cultural Secretary for Culture. She invited us to Parliament. We took that bus to Parliament with our Bristol Bus Boycott pioneers, and we got a commitment from Sakir Starmer and Annalisa Dodds to implement a Race Equality Act subject to Labour getting into government, possibly in the spring, as we're being told at the moment. So if anybody wants to see a Race Equality Act, vote Labour. Just get rid of the Tories. Who else? We had PRSC. We had a mural and an exhibition there. They're now downstairs and they've got a pop-up shop there. And we met with the Arts Council, and they're being very supportive at the moment around how we can sustain this. And in terms of sustaining this, we're now looking at something called Bristol Bus Boycott 360. 360 because we've celebrated 160th. It's an epic and important moment. Rosa Parks sat down, Bristol stood up and marched, and on the day we defeated the colour bar, Martin Luther King had a dream. Then we have Paul Stevenson. Some of you may know that name because he's often credited as the brains behind the Bristol Bus Boycott. He sat down in a pub just across the road from here, not even a stone's throw, not even a hop, skip or jump from here. That pub is called the Bay Horse Pub. He had a one-man sit-in in 1964. That then led to a commitment from Harold Wilson that he would introduce a Race Relations Act if he came into government, because he was pushed by our MP here in Bristol, Tony Benn. He kept that promise in 1965, and there goes your third 60th. So that's 360ths that we'll be celebrating. We'll be taking a global view, hence Sustainable Global, and actually we are also committed to making Bristol the best city for people of colour to live in by 2030, which again ties into the SDGs. So I'm hoping that I don't just have friends here amongst you and advocates. I want allies. I want active allies. I want change makers. Join the movement. There are loads of you already part of that movement. You'll be pleasantly surprised in the way that we move with that 77 events. We've got 34 organisations. I'm looking for 60. So we're short of 26. Will you help me get there? I hope so. And one other thing I'm going to ask you to do before I depart is go back to that grassroots blueprint for change. We've been asking Bristol 3 questions. I won't go into the detail because I'm rushed for time, but these 3 questions are here. I'm going to ask you to contribute to those 3 questions. And we're working with University of Bristol to crunch the several thousand responses that we've already got into one very pithy blueprint that will say in 10 bullet points what Bristol needs to do and what the city wants when it comes to race and social equality. Even more important in 2024, given the way the world is going at the moment. So please help me achieve that.
Thank you, Jules. And we were absolutely delighted to host the exhibition of the Bristol Bus Boycott in our travel agency, and we know it will be an ongoing relationship with you from here on in. So thank you. Can I ask Anne and Sue to come up? We're working with 11 different community champions around Bristol that represent the lovely diverse communities that we have in Bristol. And Anne has been particularly active, which has been fantastic. So if you could just say a couple of words about what you've been doing in Sparks, that'd be lovely. Thank you.
So yeah, thank you. Thank you for having me today. My name is Anne Sue. I'm the founder of One Green Kitchen CIC, which is new established like a community interest company. And our version is having green meal to change the world's future. And also, One Green Kitchen is a member of Bristol City Council's Champion Network. So at SPAR, we got the Champion Corner. You will see a different language a part of that. And we support the marginalized groups to share their thoughts and become involved in this discussion. So first of all, I would really like to take this opportunity to thank Catherine, Jenny, and Jed, and Abby, and Tara, and actually all the Spark team for supporting the new established non-profit community and charity like us. Because Spark is an amazing department to promote green community and its sustainability. It's creative, accessible, and friendly hub to embrace the local community, to be involved and showcase their customs and production. We are very pleased to be involved in a series of events. In particular, the event have a great impact on the Chinese community. For example, I think a couple months ago, we got the event opening, and Jenny invited young Chinese musician. They play some music if you attend the opening. They give a lovely quotation for them. It's the first time, the age very young, between 10 to 13. First time they can play Chinese traditional instruments called erhu. They're very pleased to be involved. And also, if you enter the nature department, you will see some lanterns, which is co-designed by the Chinese elderly. And you see some handwritten stories about, because Chinese people celebrate Lantern Festival and developed by the Chinese student. They handwritten. You enter the nature department. So yeah, and also every Saturday, thank you for Spark again, because we got the rota for different community can showcase their products. So we got the Chinese custom and Q&A, different things. For example, Chinese food, the volunteer Chinese student would put the food, or maybe Chinese custom, different festival. And also we encouraged new Hong Kong migrants, the young artists, to showcase the product as well. So, and also finally, I really want to thank Catering and Artspace and the Keep It Up and also the Global Art Center, because apart from the Spark, we involve is every Tuesday, we set up a Chinese elderly art club, allow the elderly across the city, the loneliness elderly across the city to meet, to do some artwork, because when they grow up, they haven't got many chance to do the artwork. They've been very busy doing the Chinese takeaway restaurant or maybe devoted to their family. It's the first time they can join and do like artwork. If they come to a gallery, we got the exhibitions soon there to showcase their artwork, and also I'm going to showcase in the Spark as well. So yeah, finally, I really thank you, the Spark. I really hoped lots of like new established like the charity like us can be involved with Spark in the future, and our message can be circulated and inspire others. So there will be more workshops organized at the Spark by the volunteer, elderly, and people they need it. Thank you.
We're also delighted that we've got one of our traders who trades through the Ethical Gift Shop, which is now representing over 100 small traders, and one of them, Calcifer, is here today. So if you'd just like to say a few words about what it's meant for you to be selling in Sparks.
Thank you. Hello, my name is Calcifer Cole. I am one of the traders at the Ethical Gift Shop, and I would say Sparks and the Ethical Gift Shop has impacted my little business amazingly. When I started my little business in 2021, I was finishing university, and I got told by my head, of course, that my work would never amount to anything. So when I finished uni and I came out of it with COVID, I had no contacts, I had no confidence, and I had no idea what to do with my degree. And then earlier this year, I applied to stock through the ethical gift shop, thinking, well, it's something. And within a month, I got told that my stuff sold out. I got told I'm one of the top 3 earners. I've had people like ask for my contacts and, you know, message me and be like, oh, I love your stuff. Can I get a commission? I love this sticker I bought. Can I have it as a tattoo? And it's genuinely amazed me and given me so much confidence, considering that I went from, you know, ending uni being like, oh God, I've just been told that I'm not going to get anywhere, to thinking, oh wow, I can actually make a career out of my artwork. And I would genuinely thank the people at Sparks and especially Sam and Al at the Ethical Gift Shop for providing this opportunity and this new community for me. Thank you.
And we're also very glad that we've got Isabel here from First Bus. I saw you earlier. Oh, there you are. You're hiding behind Councillor. Just to talk a little bit about why they sponsored and how being a sponsor has been beneficial to them. Thank you.
Hi everyone, I'm Isabel from First Bus. I work in the marketing team. We cover the West of England area, including here in Bristol. And Jenny approached us early this year to get involved with the Sparks project. And we knew straight away it was going to be a great fit. And so we came in to sponsor the travel agency for the remainder of this year, 2023. And we have just taken on the sponsorship for 2024 as well. And now I need my notes because I've forgotten what I was going to say next. So for us it was just a no-brainer. So we do a lot of community partnership working, and we put a lot of thought into what we take on, and it needs to, you know, align and support the work that is ongoing. And so one of the ways that this seemed like a fantastic idea is that I think it's goal number 13, climate action. And this goes hand in hand with bus travel, because, fun fact, a double-decker bus can take 75 cars off the road. And when we think about that in terms of clean air, and, you know, with the clean air zone coming in Bristol, I think that was last year, it's going to have a huge impact. If you just change one journey to bus travel, you know, per week, that impact's going to be massive on the air in our city. So the position of Sparks was also really important to us as well. I know that losing M&S was a tragedy to many. My best mate still talks about it. But what that has meant is that this is a very iconic building. It's very well known. And so the footfall has been very high. I think earlier you said 9,000 a week, which is really amazing. And we've definitely noticed that. We have a member of staff who is based downstairs in the travel agency. And I was just catching up with him before I came upstairs. And he talks to lots of people on a weekly basis. A lot of them just want to get in the driver's seat. I don't know how many people came in through the Primark side, but yeah, we have a bus in the building, which was probably one of the most memorable weeks of my life, if not my whole time at First Bus. If you want to see that, there is a video on our website, and that we were like chopping bits off it, trying to get it through the doorway. It was a fun week. But yeah, so we have a lot of kids coming in to get on the bus, and it's just created a very engaging and exciting area for us to engage with members of the public who, you know, they might not have considered travelling by bus. They might consider it, but think it's, you know, not easy enough, or there might be some barrier, and it allows us to connect with people and show that actually bus travel is easy, it's affordable, and yeah, so that's thousands of people per week who might not otherwise think of us. So that's brand awareness. which I will take. So going into 2024, Jenny and I, we've already spoken about lots of ideas, and I think as it's been mentioned, originally we had this big push to get the bus in and everything sorted for the opening. And I think now that we've signed up for another year, it's really exciting to see and think about what we could do for our next sort of wave and the next phase of Sparks. Very exciting stuff. Thank you.
Then last but certainly not least, we are delighted that we've been able to provide through, what's the terminology for the artist desks?
So the creative desk space, imagining.
So in the Department of Imagination, we've been able to provide free desk space for 10 artists from Bristol Refugee Artists Collective. And they've been sponsored desk spaces for this year. If anybody wants to take that on for next year, it'd be amazing. And we have one of the artists, Sian Brita, who's going to just speak to us briefly about what it's been like for her being in Sparks. Thank you, Sian Brita.
I have seen some familiar faces, although I don't know if you still remember me, you do. And to let you know, I very much travel by buses and for buses. So my name is Sian Brita. I am an artist, a community and a social artist, and I'm a member of BRAC, B-R-A-C, that stands for Bristol Refugee Artists Collective. I am actually the newest member, so I wish the others were here today, but they couldn't make it. BRAC has been around for over 5-6 years, and it is essentially a group of artists who have come together from different places, cultures, languages, experiences. And they've come together in order to be able to express themselves through their art, have exposure to different mediums, so they're able to access all those resources to create the sort of art that they want to. And this is irrespective of the skills. So it's an opportunity for all of us to be able to experiment, to explore, and tell the stories that we all want to. That's mainly what we have been doing. And we have been very fortunate, thanks to Sparks and Catherine and everyone, to have space here, because BRAC doesn't have an office. In fact, our website is not absolutely professional yet. BRAC has done a couple of exhibitions, but we are still organizing ourselves. So it's a boon to have a space here, the studio desks to have storage, to bring and keep our things, because mostly we didn't have any space to work. So that naturally affects the work we do. But having this space feels like another home. And I say that on behalf of all my fellow artists from BRAC. And it has given us opportunities to work towards exhibitions and planning and looking ahead. Otherwise, we weren't sure where we were heading. In fact, we have an exhibition coming up in December at the Center Space Gallery. I'll share all the information here. Yeah, just really happy to have some extended time as well, because we were wondering how long do we have this space. So I really appreciate that the extended time, and it feels like there's consistent support, and I can tell you it makes a world of a difference to everyone in BRAC. So thank you so much to the wonderful Sparks team.
Now, they couldn't be here in person, but we are an education charity, and a lot of what we do is schools workshops. So we love to get schools in. They absolutely love looking around Sparks, as you can imagine. And then they have a workshop on one of the themes, which is fast fashion, travel, biodiversity, food, and migration. So you can come as a school or as a youth group or as a scouts group and dig deep into one of those after you've seen all the amazing things there are to see. So we're delighted that Glen Froome Primary, their teacher and pupils, just gave us a little feedback video, and here they are.
Hello, we're from Glen Froome Primary School, and our Year 4s visited Sparks recently for the Fashion to Field workshop. From a teaching perspective, it was fantastic because it slotted in with what we were learning in our curriculum, but it was still really engaging and exciting. And some of the children have been thinking about what they learned and what their favourite parts were, then they're going to share it with you. Yeah?
I learned about how to be useful with my clothes and give them to others when I don't need them. we learned that there were enough clothes for 4 generations. So we learned how to sew, and so we can repair our clothes.
We have learned lots of great facts and how important it is to reuse things. My favourite thing was the wishing bell.
We liked the tour. There was a house that showed everything that was going extinct. We had to help the environment so that doesn't happen.
Thanks, guys. It was quite a while ago that we went, so it's really stuck with them. And it's definitely something that we're going to keep on incorporating into our school trips. Hopefully we'll be there again next year. Thanks. Say bye.
Bye!
It's very hard to follow the children. I'll be out my game immediately. But that was brilliant. I'm absolutely delighted to hear that. So that was 2023. So what's next? Now that we know there is a next, which is really, really exciting. So just a little bit of our vision as a Sparks team for what we want to do now that we know we're going to stay here for a while. We definitely want to increase our education offer. We definitely want to increase the amount of repair and circular economy that we can do. So we've actually got a big reuse workshop happening next month to really look at what we can do around waste and circular economy. And we really, really want to increase our partnership and income streams because we need to be sustainable to be able to keep running this space. We can't continue here unless we bring in more partnerships. And we want to do more of celebrating Bristol's cultural diversity. So through some of the partners that you've already met this evening, there's a lot more that we can do, and through other artists and other networks. So over to you. We've told you what we've done so far, but we don't want it to be a one-way street. We want it to be a two-way street. So the partners that have been involved with us so far have been hugely instrumental in driving what we've been able to achieve this year, and we're so grateful for all of them. But we do have lots of opportunities and ways that you can engage with us. Because together we really do think we can do so much more with this space to change the narrative of the high street, to give people that hopeful, positive messaging that they really need at the moment around environmental and social justice issues. And we really want to increase the impact that we can have here in the heart of Broadmead and for our city. So for those individuals that you've met, you've seen the impact that it can have on those individual sort of organisations and people. What more can we do? Who else can we impact? What else can we do in this space to really make it come alive? So we've got all sorts of ideas of ways that you might be able to engage with us. We've got a whole departmental model. So it might be that you or your organisation specialises in one of these particular areas, or it might be that it's your personal passion. Do you have a real passion for nature or for energy or for food? Is there something you'd love to get involved in the Department of Imagination? Is there some way that you think that by being here, just as it was for First Bus, it could be really beneficial for your organisation as well as beneficial for Sparks? We love that if it can work for everyone. That's absolutely what we want to do. The other brilliant ways that you can support us is by having some more of your events and things here. So you've seen this event space that we're in at the moment. There's also the workshop space downstairs. Those of you on the tour would have seen that. The doors were open to that. That's a lovely meeting space for up to 70 people. That's where we hold our school's workshops. If you book an event here or a meeting here, it generates income for us, and that really, really helps us to keep running. We're also offering from January some team days. So you can come as a team, have a tour of Sparks, have a Q&A with me or with Catherine. And also just if you want to, you can have a workshop on a theme or on all of the SDGs or on something that's really important to your organisation or your business. So please take that back to your staff teams, because that brings in more people through the door. They've then experienced Sparks, as well as obviously giving you an opportunity to engage more deeply with the Sustainable Development Goal agenda. So all of those things are on offer, and we would absolutely love you to support us as much as you can in trying to bring some of those things to life and to get involved in whatever way you can. So we're going to hand it over to you now, and to do that, I'm going to invite Manu to come and take you through a little exercise. Thanks, Manu.
Thanks, Jenny. I'd normally be leading a running group on a Thursday evening, and so when you said exercise there, I thought I didn't bring my spandex. I'm sorry. It's it's been such a, before I get into the exercise, it's been such a wonderfully wild, crazy journey to go from an idea of being in a space to weeks and months of waiting for Marks and Spencer to finally give us a wet signature. I didn't know what a wet signature was until I thought, does it have to be delivered like flowing before? To then suddenly being in here and going, oh my God, 30,000 square feet or something of space. What do you do with that? Marks and Spencer failed to do it. 2 tiny charities are now attempting to do something with that. And it's a massive team effort. And we can't have it all commercial. We can't rely on just selling wonderful, beautiful art pieces, as wonderful as they are, or really amazing, sustainable cakes, as wonderful as they are. We need your community, your support, in order to make this project work. Otherwise, it becomes just something else on the high street. So I would love it. Some of you have already done it, and I looked at a couple. I went to the back there just to spy on some of the little responses that have already been done. So if you go to the back, right there, you get some help from some of the team. Take one hand, draw around it. That's your what I'm offering hand. And your left hand, draw around that. That's what I would like to see more of at Sparks. That's what I would like Sparks to offer more of. That's what I think is missing. This is how I think Sparks could help my community. So your asks are on one hand, this is what you want us to be able to deliver now that we've got the space for the foreseeable future. And your offers are what you think you can contribute. That could be volunteering. That could be your community group helping to do something in here. It could be your late Uncle Henry's big inheritance that they left you that you would like to give to us. It could be your organization seeing that the thing that you do is going to be really, really useful to this building or to the work that we're trying to do. And what does that look like? But would love to collect as much of that, crowdsource as many of those ideas. You also have the opportunity to leave your name and a way for us to contact you so that we can then get back in touch and say, hey, remember that thing you offered us? And remember that thing you asked us to be able to do? Well, here it is happening. So please, before you leave, as you socialize and so forth, please make sure you take your time to go to the back and do that, and the team will collect all of those. And thank you so much for coming today. I'm going to hand back over to Jenny because she's so much better at thanking people with a serious face. But
I don't think I've got a serious face. I think I'm fairly smiley. But can I start by thanking Lisa hugely for all your time? That was a lot to achieve, but thank you so much. And thank you for everyone who's spoken this evening. So in terms of your offer and ask exercise, we would love you to do that. And please stick them on the back wall because this is Sparks represented, which is absolutely beautiful, by one of our artists. So you can stick it next to whichever department you might be interested in, or just slap bang in the middle, we don't mind. If you are interested in any form of sponsorship or supporting us financially in any way, or you think your organisation might be, can I point you to the wonderful Wiggs, who's going to wave to you now? She would love to talk to you about anything sponsorship related. Whatever that might look like, at whatever level. So, for example, Triodos have sponsored the Joey pod, just that little pod downstairs, and you heard that quote from the mother of the autistic child as to what an impact that made for that group of children to be able to use that space. So those kinds of impacts we can only do if we're able to get the sponsorship to fund these sorts of projects. And it might be nothing to do with anything I've written up here. You might have, whilst we were talking, thinking, why don't they do that? And actually, we can help you to do that. Brilliant. So your offer and ask is all about something that you think should happen, and you can help to make that happen. We would love that to be included in your hands. So please do take the opportunity to talk to us, talk to each other. You've got various people with Sparks badges on. There are trustees, there are people that work with us. So please do grab any of us and have a think about what you may be able to ask us to do and offer to make those things happen. But thank you so much for being here, for supporting us, for being interested in what we're doing here. Together, I'm sure we can make next year a really, really exciting proposition. Thank you.